Hello everyone and welcome to another part in our 100% walkthrough of Red Dead Redemption. In our last part, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember now. It's actually been a week since I played last. I've been trying to play more and more to try to get these videos out sooner, but I've actually been going on a couple of visits to see my girlfriend who lives a couple hours away, so I've had to take some time away from recording to do that, so that's actually kind of why these uploads have been spaced out. But while I'm sitting here trying to remember, oh yeah, we did Gaptooth Breach, we got the machine gun from Irish, and then we helped Seth, and then we found out that the machine gun didn't actually have any ammo for it, so we actually got to go see Irish soon. But to continue along with the story, we're actually going to visit Nigel West Dickens first, because I think he's going to have us do a race, which is going to be real fun, and I believe this is the last Nigel West Dickens mission we have for this first part of the game. I actually have a game guide to this, and it refers to like each area of the game, just check the map really quick. Each area that you play in, like this area, New Austin, it actually refers to all the story missions within this area as Act 1, and then all the missions in this area, or Mexico, is Act 2, and then this area, Act 3. So that's what I always kind of remembered it as. It doesn't really say that in the game, but in the game guide I have, it says that. So yeah, this should be the last mission for Nigel, and for Nigel for Act 1 and in the story in general. So let's just get this underway and do some racing.
Mr. West Dickens!
Ah, Mr. Marston! How wonderful to see you, sir. How wonderful.
Are we ready then?
Yes, sir. Nearly, sir. Very nearly, sir. I just need some cash to get some extra hardware fitted to my old Trojan horse here.
You what?
Never mind, sir. I can only presume that you have not enjoyed the benefits of a classical education, so I will not take umbrage if some of my illusions sail over your head, sir.
I won't pretend to understand you, but I will endeavor to make you understand me. Either we do this right now, or I put a bullet in you and get on with my day.
Please, I knew you were a violent man, Mr. Marston, but I did not think you were a stupid one. We need money to outfit my carriage, to turn a simple tradesman's vehicle into something more subterfuge. And I'm about to tell you how we are going to gain said cash. Now, I know that you ride very well. So come, sir, to Rathskeller Fork. Let's go, my dear boy. I'll show you the way.
Or I can just hop on the cart with you.
So how are you, John?
Okay, all things considered. Hopefully we can get through today without running into another army of your satisfied customers.
Onwards and upwards. I refuse to let the blind stupidity of the proletariat derail my calling in life.
Nothing blind about it. I'd say they saw right through you.
Before knowledge comes doubt, my dear boy.
Everybody knows you're as crooked as a dog's hind leg, West Dickens.
I resent that implication, John.
I wasn't implying. I was telling. If you're such a successful businessman, what are you doing living in a cave?
Delightfully Dickensian, isn't it?
If you say so.
Are you familiar with the concept of philanthropy, John?
I'm surprised you are.
Oh, I don't do any of this for myself, John. I hope you realize that. It's been quite a ride, John, hasn't it?
We haven't gone that far.
No, I mean us. Ridgewood Farm, Gaptooth Breach, Plainview. We make quite a team, you and me. Brains and brawn. We should consider a more permanent partnership.
This partnership ends as soon as I have Bill Williamson. I appreciate your help, but I've just about had it with all your schemes. You need to realize what's at stake here.
I know, John, I know. Just win this race and we'll be ready. I give you my word. There it is, John. Rathskeller Fork.
I think the game intentionally wants you to, like, follow him in his carriage on your horse, but you can totally cheese it and just get in the passenger seat, which is what I always like to do. I don't want to do any real work around here. You kidding me? I'm about to win us this race. Let me get my rest up.
My cousin's horse is racing,
Gentlemen, this will be a fair race. No shooting, stabbing, cliff pushing, rock throwing, cactus grinding, neck lassoing, setting fires, or other acts that causes a rider to unfairly lose his way, or bleed heavily, or black out. Get yourselves ready. Set.
What the heck? I don't remember my horse usually does that. Now, in terms of this race compared to the previous one, this one can be a little bit more difficult, considering that I think the game designs it to where the racers can easily catch up with you. But if you go into your inventory and use horse pills to increase your speed and also the stamina of the horse, then you can pretty much stay in the lead for most of the missions. So just be sure to be stocking up on those beforehand, and you should be fine when doing this race. I just remember when I used to play this game when I was a kid that I always had trouble with this. I would barely win like each time, and if I messed up, I would have to restart. So just keep that in mind. The kart race compared to this is like a walk in the park. But we should be fine. So like that, we're gonna have him take another pill. We're just gonna drug him up, which is kind of messed up, but hey, it's a game. It's not real. We're doing just fine. There's a guy who seems to be kind of like catching up to us nearly, but just got to keep it a consistent pace. And it does help that we have the fastest horse available to us other than the war horse you get through the DLC. I'm gonna be sad seeing this horse go. I love this horse. It just looks so cool. Goldie's awesome, but we eventually have to move on. We'll be able to get a new horse that's actually, I think, a little bit better, or maybe just a little bit slower, but tougher. I can't remember the exact stat. I was looking in the guide that I was mentioning earlier, trying to see exactly when, like, what is the difference between all these horses. And they just each said that they were some of the fastest. So they were pretty broad, but we should be fine when we move on to the next horse. I would not assume the game would intentionally give us a bad horse, you know? But I do know for a fact I think the best horse in the game is either the war horse or the final horse in West Elizabeth that you can tame. We will be buying all the horse steeds for each individual horse, so we don't have to worry about ever, you know, not having any one of them available to us. In fact, I think we're going to have to try to find 2 white stallions, unless I get the deed. No, we only have to find 1, and then we can just buy the deed. Because there is a stranger mission involving the white stallion. Alright, we're nearly there. We're about to win this race. It's a cakewalk, thanks to Goldie here.
He came, he saw, he conquered. What a fantastic spectacle, John. Let's take a moment to bask in the glory of our victory.
Have we got enough money now?
All right. Yes, once Seth and Irish have furnished their side of the bargain, I think we should be ready. Quite a team we've assembled, don't you think?
A bunco, a grave robber, and a drunk. How could things possibly go wrong?
Well, ain't you
Someone's getting
pretty
chased
thing?
from the top.
200 fame for winning a race. That's actually pretty nice. Now, if you're looking at the map, you might see a stranger mission right there. And to be honest, I kind of forgot it unlocks this early, but I do have a plan to do that stranger mission a little bit later for a particular reason. Just mostly because it involves an area that's kind of connected to a mission, so I just kind of want to save that for later. But we will be doing that, don't you worry. But we are going to be heading towards a different stranger mission right now. One that's probably one of my favorites in my personal and professional video gaming opinion. As if you could have one of those. Alright, everyone, we are here in Armadillo to start that stranger mission, which is over by the movie house, right over here, lights, camera, action. In fact, I kind of forgot that there are movie houses in this game, and I wasn't originally planning on showing off these in the game, because there's 2 of them. I think there's one here and then one up in West Elizabeth, but before we start that mission, I figured why not? We'll check it out, see if there's anything worth seeing in there. Usually it's like a satire of like movies of the time period or something. But before we do that, it actually gave me a notification that we have a new newspaper. It said there are old newspapers there for sale, so we might have more than one, because earlier it wasn't actually giving me all the news, like it wasn't giving me an option to buy newspapers, so we might have more than one to read through. So let's check out what they have in store for us. Hopefully it's just one. Okay. We're gonna buy old newspapers. Okay. There it is. So we're gonna read more than one. I'm actually a little bit annoyed that it wasn't showing me the old newspaper earlier in the game, because I was actually trying to find them, but it's no matter. We're gonna go through and read them anyway.
There is nobody here who's better than me.
It should let us read. Ah, here it is. So we're gonna go ahead and read this. I don't know when this one unlocks. It might just be because of the order of the missions I do them in. So it might just be out of order just because of that. But we're gonna go ahead and read through them anyway. So first things first, we got John's leading race. Atkinson's disgraced in race crime. Mr. Nate John looks likely to be our next governor, following remarkable relations about the private business affairs of his rival Archibald Atkinson. Mr. Atkinson, a recent transplant from Alabama, was found to have flaunted important government regulations in several businesses his family owns and maintains. Alongside tax evasion and countless unpaid invoices, what is particularly shocking is the revelation that Mr. Atkinson failed to enforce racial segregation adequately and actually allowed non-whites to sit in the same room as Europeans. At various times, documented reports show serious code violations at which blacks, natives, Mexicans, and others unspecified colored people were allowed to eat, drink, pray, receive medical care, and educational teaching in establishments run, owned, or managed by the Atkinson family, including a church at which his brother preaches. This shocking behavior simply cannot be tolerated in a new, still-forming society such as ours here in the West, and voters have responded with the appropriate outrage and disgust. When pushed for a comment, Mr. Atkinson's office responded, Archibald Atkinson bitterly refutes these claims. Like all good Americans, he is a passionate racial supremacist and implicitly understands that the natural order of things should be maintained. He would, however, prefer the focus to campaign on things that matter for the region. Issues like crime, healthcare provision, and urban expansion are very important to the campaign, much more than some silly slurs about racial integration. And I'm willing to agree on that. This is downright awful that this guy is not winning the seat to be governor just because he doesn't believe in, or just because he's not hard on racial segregation and keeping it. That is downright awful and shows the times, I guess. Sad history can be, for sure. Racing uncertainty. The region's leading equestrian event for amateurs, the famous Rathskeller Fork Fall Classic, turned up a major shock the other day. as an unknown outsider defeated the rest of the field and seized victory, winning himself a place in New Austin folklore, despite accusations of cheating and illegal gambling alongside claims of horse doping, violence, and the usual charges of pre-race bestiality. The victory was allowed to stand, and to the unnamed victor went the spoils. Merchant run out of town. A traveling merchant who has arrived at Plainview in the Rio Bravo region of New Austin to promote the health benefits of a new medicinal tonic narrowly escaped with his life under he was set upon an angry throng of disgruntled customers. The West Dickens patented elixir is said to be a complete sham with no noticeable effects beyond a prompt and violent evacuation of the bowel. The merchant, believed to be Mr. West Dickens himself, was pursued all the way into Gaptooth Ridge, but apparently escaped unharmed. Yeah, well, that was us that took the spoils, but too bad. We deserve it. Even though we were using drugs on our horse, that does not matter. More trouble in Mexico. Outright civil war in Mexico seems a step closer, despite President Sanchez's claims that the country is moving towards peace. Alongside food riots in the capital, rebel bands and militia groups are forming in several outlying provinces, with 3 separate groups claiming that they are the next government of Mexico and that they alone will bring peace, democracy, and prosperity to this beautiful but troubled land. Miracle of movies in New Austin. A famed movie picture maker from the East Coast is heading westwards. Nothing surprising in that, I hear you say, with many movie makers in recent years swapping Queens for the more reliable climate of California. As the craze of moving picture displays continues to captivate our nation, D.S. McKenna, however, is heading west, but not as far as the Pacific. He plans to stop in New Austin and build a new movie production facility here to rival the studios on both coasts. With cheap labor, good climate, and plenty available action, Mr. McKenna is sure to turn our region into the create center to rival ancient Athens. Federal government denies expansion. The federal government in Washington released a statement in which it denied the formation of a new body designed to fight the crime and maintain... Sorry, guys, I'm just readjusting. Where was I? In which he denied the formation of new body designed to fight crime and maintain civic order on a national as opposed to statewide level. Claiming such reports were poppycock and beyond its a remit, a spokesman poured scorn on the idea that the federal government would ever look to expand its powers at the expense of the states. Ours is a free federation of states, not a police-run dictatorship from Washington. He promised the idea of us releasing agents to spy on our population is simply preposterous. Oh, really? Really, huh? Oh, man, all this talking is making me run out of breath. But don't worry, we're going to get through this. Ranchers struggle with changing economy. A difficult business environment, along with cheap corned beef imports from Uruguay and the Argentine, has put a great strain on our once flourishing livestock industry. This is especially true across our southern western region, given the scale of many ranches and the increased cost of labor. With increasing numbers of workers moving to towns and a lack of core skills among those who remain, for the first time, the great American cowboy is under threat and our once almighty beef industry is challenged by a new enemy. This time is not pestilence or redskins or migration, but progress itself. Damsels causing distress in moving picture show. With the flick of the magic lantern and a tune of a skilled musician, the moving picture Damsels Causing Distress opened in Armadillo to great fanfare. Viewers claim it as a fantastic show, while others established theatrical groups say the moving picture is a brief novelty and nothing is like the theatrical triumph of live actors on a live stage giving real, credible emotion. Lack of interest in live theater is on the rise, while at the same time there are in the neighborhood of tens of thousands moving picture theaters across the country. The current picture show is a telling warning regarding the horrors that await our great land should women be given the right to vote. Oh no. I have a feeling I know what we're about to see in the movie. Lucky children growing up in factories. Local politicians debated labor laws last week, with some ignorant fools seeking to set the minimum age for working children to be much as 9 years of age. But in reality, what harm does factory life do to a child? Hard, toiling factory children learn the benefits of work. Each working child is a cog in the giant machine of American progress, for this country was founded on the farm and field. Child working alongside father, learning a trade, providing for the family. Additionally, children should have something to do to occupy their hands and minds so they do not have any time to be thinking of evil nor taking inappropriate personal pleasures. Alright, man, working in a factory is different than, working alongside your family, helping build something for your family, man. Man, these newspaper articles really show how far we've come, especially in America and many other countries. We still have a lot more to go to make really good change, but it does just goes to show how far we have come. How long will you live? The Census Bureau announced the newest figures on the average American's expectation of life. At birth, the male American can expect to live 43 years and 7 months. Officials indicate women will exceed that number on average due to the man having a sense to depart early, toil-free from the afflictions that accompany old debilitating age. Often after the age of 50, women render life a burden to themselves and others. All the days that Adam lived were 912 years as stated in the definite story of creation. So it seems we have a lot of catching up to do. Okay. Wild West show heads east. Aspiring celebrity cowboys from across the region have traveled to New York City to perform in the Blackwater Wild West show. Music is being performed by the Broken Brittle Military Band, featuring a cow pony race, fancy roping, ladies bucking contest, Indian foot race, and Cowboys to the Rescue, which depicts the dangers of early settlers and the savages they bested. Also showing will be a horse thief act and a mystery man riding without a saddle or bridle, or even horse. The fancy Dans of the East Coast have been sorely amazed at the more rustic skills of us country folk have. Okay. Miscellany. New stock of Springfield rivals available for purchase. A fine and reliable weapon with excellent range. Benjamin Dupois, Gunsmith, Thieves Landing. Walton Lowe, age 30, has died by gunshot. He will be missed by nobody. Well, I didn't shoot him, so that, I think, is untrue. Unless he died after we capture him. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Ranch hands sought to assist with the breaking of horses at Ridgewood Farm in Cholla Springs, New Austin. Horse pills for sale. Increased stamina and virility. H.R. Putnam's General Merchandise, Armadillo. Accommodation available for purchase in Chuparos, Mexico. Excellent investment adjourned to the town's cantina. Everything a man could need right on his doorstep. I guess that could be true to some. Night watchman wanted at McFarland's Ranch, Hennikenstead. Must be keen-eyed, responsible, and sober. No weapons provided. Pistol and rifle ammunition. Lowest prices guaranteed. General store, McFarland's Ranch, Hennikenstead. Make hay while the sun shines. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the cheat in this newspaper. So that's been a pretty good read, for sure. We're going to hold off on reading the second one just yet. We'll probably save that a few missions from now, just so we can kind of get a break from all the reading and actually do some things. But I love reading those newspapers. I feel like they show just not just the world of Red Dead Redemption, but in general, it kind of helps create like a timepiece that we can compare, kind of like how things were back in this time compared to our modern day time. Even though this game can be quite satirical, along with many other Rockstar games, on how things actually are or were. So, no, I just really enjoy reading those. But we are going to head to the movie theater and check out that movie that they were talking about. I am actually a video production major, so I actually studied how to make movies and just videos in general, so reading things about film production, especially in the time where it was really getting it going, is really personally enjoyable for me. But we're gonna check out what this movie is all about. I don't know if it'll be the one referred to in the newspaper, because I think it has multiple movies, but we'll go ahead and try to check out as many as there are available, if we can find the time. What an absolute excellent movie, and how fitting it is for some certain people we know within this game. Even though it was completely crazy, ridiculous, and just completely satirical. I've been using that word a lot. I'm trying to think of a better word. Exaggerating. That's the one I'm looking for. What a completely ridiculous movie. And I don't think it's the only one, so... do we check out the other one now? Nah. We'll check out the other one later when we actually come back here. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of going with the flow with this and figuring it out as I go along, but... Now that we've kind of checked out the movie and thoroughly enjoyed our time watching it, let's actually start this new stranger mission.
Now there's a leading man if I ever saw one. Hello there. What brings a fine specimen like yourself to my humble establishment?
Establishment? This place looks like a schoolhouse.
Such limited thinking. Have you not seen the future, my friend? We make dreams! Are you not a devotee of the cinematic arts?
Arts is what you call it?
Granted, I only have a poor imitation of the true Nickelodeon. But that is why I am to build my new film studio and make New Austin, with its cheap land and fine climate, the second center for the motion picture industry. Hell, a couple good years now I'll be here. I'll produce adventure stories, as well as melodramas for the ladies, and even some fantastical shorts for children young and old. Heard there's an old ranch ripe for exploitation just north of here. Apparently, the owner is a frequent lover and loser at the liar's dice tables over at Thieves' Landing. If you could do me the favor to wrest control from him, I'd reward you quite highly. A career in the arts awaits.
I'll see what I can do. I'm not much of a high-stakes gambler, and movies seem like drivel.
Drivel? No, sir. We speak to a man's soul. Listen, if you run into a chap named Spatchcock, tell him to get back to work.
Who?
Spatchcock. Trained as the finest gunslinger and hero in motion picture history. Then the fool began to believe it was for real. And now he's run off to become a gunslinger for real. Heard he's in Benedict Point. Fool will have himself killed if you don't help.
If I see him, I'll tell him.
A producer credit awaits, sir.
How very convenient that we read about that guy, and now we're doing a stranger mission for him. I didn't even plan on that. That just literally happened. Of course, when I read about him in the newspaper, I was like, how convenient that is. So I know the stranger mission is kind of split up into two parts, and we're probably going to do this stranger mission alongside Irish's, kind of like in between. So we're probably going to do the first part in Thieves' Landing, and actually play some poker, play some blackjack, just play a lot of gambling games there while we're there. Hit like 5 birds with a couple stones, you know. Do a couple things at once. And when we come back here and deliver that deed to him, we'll probably watch the other movie that's here, because I think there's only 2. I think. I'll have to double check that. But we'll do that for certain.